Nigeria as a nation has never hidden its commitment to agriculture, having tasted the benefits of the agricultural sector at a period when the sector was the mainstay of the nation's economy. It has been the dream of successive governments to return to the glory days of agricultural prosperity. The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has remained resolute in achieving this dream of making agriculture a viable sector in the country. The Anchor Burrowers program is one of such initiatives introduced by the administration to boost productivity. Launched in 2015 by President Muhammadu Buhari through the Central Bank of Nigeria under Governor Godwin Emefiele, Nigeria's agriculture has been growing in leaps and bounds, creating jobs for thousands of Nigerians and creating financial networks amongst numerous stakeholders along the value chain. Cotton, which was one of the leading cash crops in the past in Nigeria, is among the crops being farmed under the Anchor Burrowers program.
We have to recognize the importance of cotton and of course, the significant impact it can have on our economy. Cotton is actually a very good source of foreign exchange for a nation such as ours, especially as government is interested in diversifying our foreign exchange earnings. Cotton also significantly can impact on rural economies, particularly because cotton is actually a rural economy exercise. What you also have in cotton is the fact that cotton is actually, hardly any part of cotton is wasted. When I say that, for instance, when you cultivate cotton and you harvest, the stalk that's the stick basically that cotton grows on, that actually can be used to make briquettes, which you use to fire boilers and things like that, and also particle boards, which you can use for furniture making and so on and so forth. And not to talk about, obviously, the oil content of the cotton seed, which is also actually quite nutritional for human consumption. And then you have, of course, the ability to make soap, bathing soap and whatnot from that process, animal feed, and so on. So cotton is actually quite vast. It's an important crop. It has helped the economy, Nigerian economy in the past. It is currently helping a lot of countries around the world. So when you look at the value chain of cotton, it's so vast that it will not make sense not to look at such crops that can add value to the national economy of our nation.
As a cash crop that contributed immensely to Nigeria's development before the discovery of oil, President Muhammadu Buhari is building a grassroots base of thousands of cotton farmers across the nation who will assist in diversifying the nation's economy from an oil-based economy to an agricultural commodity-based economy with an array of value chain and productivity. Having achieved a bumper harvest in the 2019-2020 cotton farming season, a season that has been dubbed as changing the narrative because of the participation of non-cotton producing states who hitherto were not among the traditional producers of cotton, it became imperative to increase yield by engaging more farmers and acquiring more farmlands for cotton farming. The 2020-2021 cotton farming season began in earnest across states in Nigeria with land acquisition and preparation undertaken by cotton farmers.
Okay, the target set for this season was it's currently 136,000 metric tons. Now we had to review that downwards, because we were looking more towards 250,000. But unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it affected the number of farmers and the process. You know, we cannot circumvent the processes, which means that there must be criteria, or there are criteria set that we must be able to meet, and the individual farmer must be able to meet. But the ravages of the COVID-19 with the shutdown and so on and so forth did delay, because I remember at a time Abuja was totally shut down. This is our base of operations, and if we cannot engage the CBN directly and the banks, those were the kind of challenges we got. But to cut a long story short, we were able to also engage about 121,000 farmers. But again, because of the COVID-19, like I said, and meeting certain criteria, that dropped to about 90,000 that actually planted. But with that, we're expecting at least 136,000 metric tons of seed cotton.
Harvesting is going on, and as GNAS, we are not involved in the harvesting. It's NACOTAN business, so we're waiting for them with expectation. And from what we have seen from the farms, we're expecting a higher yield, at least more than last year.
2020-21 is a success for NACOTAN, and the CBN, they have tried. This is the second chance they gave us for this Burrowers program, and all the stakeholders involved are well organized. And I would say that in terms of the stakeholders, whereby the government, that is the CBN, play a key role in assisting the cotton farmers to produce, so also other stakeholders, like the commodity, the processors, the generalists, the cotton growers who are primarily the farmers, and also the merchants. So now we are in the process of also how do we allocate what we have harvested. We are about to start distributing to the selected generalists who will take this cotton, process it, and send it to the millers.
Most farming in Nigeria is manual, including cotton farming, which is capital intensive and requires large farmlands to cultivate. To alleviate the burden on the farmers, the National Cotton Association of Nigeria, NACOTAN, provides mechanization to all the farmers to significantly cut down on time as well as labor.
We've ensured that, or we tried to ensure that, the inputs, first and foremost, are good quality inputs. And the inputs are as recommended by the National Institute of Agricultural Research in Zaria, IAR, who have the national mandate for cotton. And before each season, like in 2019 and in this 2020, we engaged them for their advice. So, that and then training of the farmers.
Actually, we've done a lot of improvement compared to last year, because we've had our bitter experiences and know where it hurts us. And I think this year is better because we've added to the existing structures we had in monitoring and applied more technology in areas that we know we had challenges last year. So I think in terms of monitoring and administering the Burrowers program for 2020, there has been a lot of improvement. For example, we've digitized most of our activities in terms of monitoring. So we employed some service providers that have experience in software. So the software is mostly applicable to agriculture, and so for example, now we have a software that gives every extension agent, which we have over 300 around the country, having those devices. Those devices can actually give you, because each device has a list of our farmers, which has been uploaded into each device. So every external agent has a list in his device where he uses to monitor the farmer and monitor his progress and monitor his challenges, and also gives advice, because we have a zonal agronomists who are actually professionals. So where there are challenges for the farmer, they can guide the farmer and give him advice on how to get a higher yield for his farm. We have even gone to the extent of, even digitalizing the weighing of recovery, that's the harvested cottons. so that those devices can also capture the weight of cotton the farmer is submitting, and it will go into our uploaded into our network where we can monitor. So we monitor right from the start. That's the input distribution. How each farmer gets his inputs, which farmer gets inputs. Then we now monitor up to the point of how he applies it into the farm, and also monitor the harvest, so that we can know exactly what our recovery rate is.
It takes a lot of commitment by the farmers to nurture the crop from its nursing stage to maturity. In this regard, weeding is done continuously to allow space for growth. Within the 7 or 8 months required for growth, a cotton ball could survive if inputs are applied on time. But if this is not done, the juicy flower becomes vulnerable to insects and the journey comes to an end.
We started by land plowing. After the land plowing, we did the planting. And after the planting, we applied the herbicide, pre-emergence herbicide. So after the application of pre-emergence herbicide, the cotton we planted germinated. And 3 weeks after the germination, we did the first application of fertilizer. We did the thinning reducing the plant populations to our desired population. And after that, we apply fertilizer. So after application of fertilizer, 5 weeks later, we did the first weeding.
Cotton is a crop that is prone to pest attack, which affects output. About 2.4% of world land is occupied by cotton farms. However, this portion uses about 6% of the world's pesticides, thus highlighting the importance of pesticides in the success of huge cotton yield. With financial support from CBN, NACOTAN has been providing necessary inputs to farmers to mitigate the effects of pests on cotton.
We thank God with this fertilizer that the NACOTAN gives to us, and also the chemicals that they give us to us. Immediately when the rain has started, we started observing this drought small. So we replant it and apply chemical. So when the crop reach around that 21 days to 4 weeks, we start applying the first application of the fertilizer. That is the time that we see our crop are growing faster up to this level.
In Niger State, cotton farmers benefited from the distribution of farm inputs under the CBN NACOTAN Anchor Burrowers program. 6 months after planting, the harvest is encouraging.
The size of this farm is about 10 hectares. Then each hectare we used to get at least 3 tons. If we didn't get much, it's 2 tons. That is 40 bags per each hectare. This is better than last year, because the reason that I said this is better than last year, despite that some places have a lot of problem, but it will be more better than last year because of the goods, the input that they give us to us. People manage it.
Zamfara State is among the leading producers of cotton in Nigeria.
We have coordinators all over the state. We have 40 local governments, and in each local government we have 1 coordinator. And as you know, these coordinators are leading the distribution of input to the farmers. And the farmers are also grouped in clusters, and they made an undertaking that they will supply the cotton, because the loan given to them is not to be paid in cash, it is to be paid in kind, that is in cotton.
Katsina State was the forerunner in early cotton planting in the 2020-2021 cotton farming season. Thousands of metric tons of cotton have been harvested by the state chapter.
This is a known fact that we are leading. And in fact, farming about 60 to 70% of Nigerian cotton. We are expecting about 3,000 to 4,000 tons. We are able to engage 5,897, 5,897 farmers. We engage under 5,897 hectares.
We have seen progress compared to last year as a recovery system. So actually we have been receiving cottons now every day.
We have 4,500 farmers. Each farmer, we need to get 911 kg from each farmer. So if you multiply 911 kg, they will give you almost 4,000 something.
The Southwest states have done tremendously well in the aspect of timely application of inputs, beginning with Oyo State, where large hectares of cotton land across the local government areas have been cultivated.
Actually, this year we started from the land preparation. It was the CBN that provided the money for the land preparation. After that, we got the inputs. Talking of the input, we're talking of all the seed we use, all the pre-emergence herbicide, all the insecticide, including the sprayer, the chemicals, the fertilizers we use. We are given five bags of fertilizer. We are given a sprayer tank. We are given 4 different types of insecticide. We are given liquid fertilizer, and we are expecting a harvesting bag presently now. So we got all the input we use from CBN and Burrowers in collaboration with NACOTAN.
The 2020-2021 cotton season has been remarkable due to increase in the number of farmers compared to previous seasons. Consequently, there is a large increase of cotton farmed across the local government areas in Adamawa and Gombe states respectively.
We have planted cotton in various clusters in Gombe state, and Alhamdulillah, the farmers were more into cotton production this year than before. A lot of farmlands have been put into cotton production this year. For NACOTAN members, I think it's about 7,000 hectares of land, and there are other farmers that cultivated lands. I think it's close to about 10,000 hectares. So roughly there is a cultivation of about 17,000 hectares in Gombe state.
Harvest in these 2 states is also encouraging. For instance, with more farmers in 2020-2021 than the 2019-2020 season, about 8,000 metric tons have been harvested in each of the states.
We started harvesting. This is the cotton that you see we have recovered from our farmers, which have been farmed with our association here in Adamawa State. So this is the cotton that you see almost all over. So we have about 6 collection centers in Adamawa State. This is the first collection center that you have been visited in Yola South local government area. But we have in Maiha and Numan, Demsa, Shelen, and Guyuk. So this is the center that we have in Adamawa State. So almost all the center you have been visited, you will see the harvest have started, and we started recovering our loan from our farmers.
The progress made is an indication that the recovery plan is bearing fruit and the program should be sustained. Enugu, Edo and Cross River states were not left out in making cotton a viable crop in the southeast and south-south states. These states remain the beacon of changing the narrative of cotton farming from being a crop grown in the northern region of the country to a crop that is grown nationwide.
I think this time around I have to commend NACOTAN, CBN, and other value people that made this thing to get to where we are today. Because unlike last year, this year there was mechanization. Like you saw at Ijigo, that massive land, it was mechanized, and it's over here, like you're seeing. We also mechanize it, then planted, and also apply the chemicals that were given.
In Sokoto State, the season was encouraging for cotton farmers. The target of harvesting 2,100 metric tons of cotton is yielding positive outcome. Sokoto State boasts of having one of the most outstanding mechanisms in cotton recovery, which can be attributed to its success in harvest.
We have good germination, which we expect a good recovery in all the local government where cotton grows well in Sokoto State. Our expectation is to get a 90 to 95% recovery from the whole local government where we gave them our inputs. Each and every farmer is expected to give us 1 ton. So we're expecting about 2,101 tons of cottons.
Kebbi State is not left out. Its achievement in the 2020-2021 cotton farming season has been impressive.
Yawan fama ɗinmu muna da 3,867 fama ɗin da gare mu nan jihar Kebbi na bana na siya ɗinga. Insha Allah za mu samu ton 100 tons.
Cotton farming for the year 2020-2021 has not been without its own challenges. One of them being the global COVID-19 pandemic that halted movements of inputs following lockdown measures introduced by the federal government to combat the spread of the disease. There were also natural disasters such as drought and flood during the season under review, including insecurity.
We have encountered insecurity. Security is a major challenge. Reports we have received is that farmers were not even able to get to their farms in the first instance to plant. Secondly, those that were able to plant cannot go back to harvest. Thirdly, those that have been able to harvest, unfortunately, during maybe a night time, because of informants within their community, informing the bandits, they come knock on their doors and collect the money that they paid them for their cotton. Also, unfortunately, we have had incidences of drought. Climate change has really also impacted quite significantly, actually. And then obviously also flash floods that we experienced. But I'm glad to say about, at least for the drought and flash floods and maybe poor yields or whatever, that is covered by our insurance cover that we have, a policy that we have in place. We heard from some of our farmers that germination was poor. And I can understand why, because when you're storing seed, you have to store it in particular conditions, that will ensure that it retains its vigor, so to speak. And unfortunately also where there was a bit storage, there was a bit of flooding. But we tried to address that also by replacing the seed for the farmer. So conventional seeds is what we have used thus far. Going forward, we're hoping that we can use hybrid seeds, which approval has been given for the seed.
The National Cotton Association of Nigeria, NACOTAN, has been working tirelessly to ensure farmers are committed to the objectives of the program. The apex body holds quarterly meetings amongst its members and with stakeholders in the scheme, where it evaluates activities as well as designs effective momentary mechanism to achieve better results. The revival of cotton farming by this administration is worthy of commendation.
Ina godiya ga shugaban ƙasa Muhammadu Buhari da chairman na state na jiha. Muna fatan wannan koke da mun ka kai za a karɓa mana shi.
Muna kuma godiya ga shugaban ƙasa Janar Muhammadu Buhari da shugaban bankin Najeriya CBN da shugaban ƙungiyar NACOTAN na ƙasa. Mun yi musu godiya kan irin ƙoƙarin da suke yi. Muna fata za su ƙara ƙoƙari na taimaka ma manoma.
So I'm feeling the government should continue and sustain what it has started for the benefit and also improve into the economy.
I think it's a policy for President Muhammadu Buhari to boost agriculture, to bring Nigeria back into agriculture. That was our mainstay at one point in time. He believes we can go back. He believes we can regain the lost glory of agriculture and the impact it has on our economy. So he has been very supportive. We want to encourage him to continue in that light. The best way we can thank him and thank the CBN governor is to make sure that these loans are repaid. But we ask and we plead and encourage him and thank him for even starting or supporting. You know, giving political will in this country is not something that is done lightly. Once you do it, a lot of people will come and say various things and so on and so forth for their own selfish interests. But I know that the president has the interest of Nigerians at heart. That is why he has stuck to his guns with his support for the CBN governor, for the Anchor Burrowers program to continue and deliver the benefits that we all anticipate that it will do. It will deliver.
No doubt, cotton, which is also known as white gold, is gradually becoming the game changer in Nigeria's economic growth, and it is hoped that in the near future, Nigeria will be among the top producers of cotton globally.